All right, y'all. The craziest thing just happened, man. I hit go live and we didn't go live originally. We were supposed to be live like at least a minute and a half ago, and yeah. So at least we're live now. You guys missed it, but all of us we got a chance to listen to the music two separate times. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are back for another week of Just a Fan podcast. What's up, Donald?
Donald is here because we are talking about the AFC South. And Donald's a Texas fan, so he's like, you already know what time it is. And all my people that's down here in Houston, I know y'all gonna be tuning in. I know we have a lot of Texas fans in here. The Jacksonville fans are hard to find, and so are the Indianapolis Colts fans. So I don't know. We've been trying to find them, but we got a couple of guests tonight.
Yes, we do.
And they'll be coming in a little bit, and they're gonna be talking about their teams, man.
This is our second week of the 8-week install for the division by division talk. Last week we did NFC South, as Pando said. We're gonna be doing AFC South now. I'm Coach Williams, the NFL Encyclopedia, the Wildcat quarterback that runs this whole thing. What's up, y'all? Like I said, on the bottom here, 8 weeks for division by division talk. That direction, panel 316, the good guy with the black hat. Tell him, Donald. Tell him.
I'm sick of y'all. I'm gonna be honest with you. The Texans, every time you open up your sports, any of your sports apps on your phone, the Texans assign somebody.
Yeah, they did. And it's not just some small name player either. It's not like it's some little some little Zuriel Smith type football player. Now they be signing some legitimate football players.
And what's crazy here's the crazy part, is that most of these guys are depth. These are depth guys. Like they already had a division winning team last year.
Mm-hmm.
And the guys they bringing in, I will say this, they are revamping the offensive line. If you look at the moves they made, they're revamping the offensive line. But other than that, the other moves are just to make sure, hey, if somebody go down, next man up, and they'll be just as good.
And the thing about this though, some of these guys they're bringing in could be starters on some other people's teams. So
exactly. So you bringing in is quality depth. It's not warm bodies. It's quality depth. So yeah, it begs to reason that they stand a good chance, very good chance of possibly repeating as division champions in the AFC South.
Yep.
But we're not going to show our hand just yet because, at the end of the show, when we do our division by division breakdown, we always give our predictions for how we think the division is going to fall by the end of week 18 in the NFL.
That's right.
So, yeah, man. Let's bring our guest on, man.
All right. So the first guest,
one at a time, I guess.
Yeah, one at a time, definitely. The first guest is a regular on the guest. Well, when I say guest, I mean he's regular commenter on the show and watches the show regularly as well. His name is Joe, and he's a Houston Texans fan, and he'll be representing Houston Texans for the AFC South division tonight.
I'm here, man. What's up, man?
Let me tell you something. Joe gonna put that chef hat on, and he gonna start cooking. So, Joe, You can't take over the show, man. Because last year, I was just like, let him cook.
Hey.
I was just like, but yeah.
I'm chilling on it this year, man.
But you was spitting though. It wasn't like you were just saying crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? you wasn't saying crazy stuff. You was spitting facts. So I was just like, hey man, let him cook.
Hey man, listen. Well, first of all, what up? What's going on, man? I'm chilling this year because I got humbled a little bit last year. I did. I got humbled, so I'm gonna chill a little bit this year, and I'm gonna speak more from a reserved position. How about that?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well,
right. We got somebody for you to debate with on this show. Last year it was just you. We talked mostly about Titans. Excuse me, about Texans. But now we have a guest that's here to represent for the Titans, who had the number 1 pick in the draft this year.
Man.
OC.
Our man OC.
That's right. And he has on his thing H-Town Titans. I'm assuming he lives in Houston, but he's a Titans fan, not a Texas fan. Well, I know he's a Titans fan, but I'm assuming he lives in Houston. Hey, your mic is muted. Hold on, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 100% accurate, man. And like, honestly, like I try to put the Texan colors on. It just, I had a rash, so I had to go back to what's really good with me. Steel blue didn't match me, but Columbia blue fits me well.
See, here we go.
I'm still gonna make some popcorn because this looks like this.
Hey, this is us the whole school year.
Oh man. Man.
So Brandon, you in here with 3 Texas boys. Now I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm gonna try to be neutral, but I do lean toward the Houston Texans.
I know you do. I know
that's my second favorite team.
I know, and I know why.
Favorite team. We
I know why.
Games all the time.
I understand.
But
hey, listen, man. I'm gonna chill out and I'm gonna have some questions. And you have some questions and whatnot, and we'll get through. We're gonna get through this. It's gonna be fun. I expect nothing less. All right, so let's get to it. So
it's kind of cool that we have the Texans and the Titans. Okay, the Titans, they finished last in the division last year, and the Texans finished first in the division. So we have the top, we have the top and the bottom of the division, which is represented. Now, what I want y'all to be able to say is, what we want you to do, gentlemen. Joe, we want you to explain to us why the Texans are going to remain the division champions. And then, OC, I want you to explain why the Titans will no longer be the last place team in the division.
Well, that's easy. I'm ready.
Okay. All right. And now, since y'all picked first in the draft, we're going to go ahead and let you go first. Let's talk about the Tennessee Titans in their offseason.
I mean, hey, you said it right there. I mean, we went first in the draft, and we got the best player in the draft for our team, which is we need a quarterback. Obviously, ever since Steve McNair, left the Titans and went to like the Ravens, and just went to pass away. We have been trying to find our leader for our franchise. We tried B.Y., the Houston legend. I didn't like that pick, but it didn't work out. We tried Jake Locker, it didn't work out. We tried Mariota, it didn't work out. We tried Malik Willis, it didn't work out. We tried Will Levis, it didn't work out. Tannehill kind of worked out. And I'll let you know how bad we are, as far as a franchise in the last 25 years picking a quarterback. And I do feel that with the first pick selecting Cam Ward, that's going to be the reason that, this whole franchise is going to change. But I think it starts in the front office. And we got some people in the front office that came from organizations that are used to winning. We got like, Chad Brinker. He came from the, it's called the Packers. He was there for almost, over 10 years. Okay. We got Mike Borgonzi, he was there with the Chiefs for the last 10 plus years. Okay. We got Dave Ziegler that came from the Saints, and we also got a special advisor, Richard McKenzie. The former Raiders, GM though. So we got a lot of people in the back office that's kind of making the right moves and kind of building things up, with the right type of teammates that we want. We want guys that are about football guys. The guys that ain't worried about making podcasts and stuff like that. You know what I mean? We want guys all about football. And like. In the next 5 to 6 weeks, he's going to focus on football and throw the effing football all day. That's what he's going to do.
Okay, so quick question. You said McKenzie. Who's this McKenzie guy you have in the front office?
Reggie McKenzie.
Reggie McKenzie. Okay, I know you're talking about. I think he was in Green Bay before he was with the Raiders. So yeah, so he definitely.
Yeah, so we got to do so used to win it. Yeah.
So yeah, you do. Now you had said something about Vince Young. What was that you said about Vince Young?
I was a big fan of Vince Young. I mean, like,
Really?
I know, like, we had the H-Town love for him. I mean, the whole plan was to have Steve McNair be his, like, I guess, like his uncle. As someone to kind of show him how to be a professional. That was a disaster. Yeah, Cheesecake Factory is an example of one.
Man,
so I mean, I like the guy as a person, but as an athlete, as a pro, I didn't like him as that.
Well, I tell you what, if one of our hosts makes it on, I'm gonna circle back around to this because he has a different opinion. I'm not gonna get into that kind of opinion, but if he does come on, I'm gonna circle back around to that because that's gonna be interesting. Joe, Houston, talk to us about the Houston Texans. Please.
So my question, the question that was asked to me is, why will we stay at the pinnacle of the AFC South? Correct?
Yes.
This AFC South championship.
The easiest answer to that is, who gonna beat us? I mean,
golly, I felt like I was electrocuted on that one.
Sucked.
I mean, look,
I felt electrocuted.
If we gonna keep it 100, who gonna actually beat us? Like, let's be real. Let's be real. I'm not gonna even talk about the Titans right now. Can you honestly say, with the roster that we've constructed, that the Jaguars have what they need to beat us, to dethrone us?
Somebody call 911.
Can we honestly say that the Colts, even though they're good, have what it takes to dethrone us?
They don't have a quarterback.
Clear.
Danny Jones.
Like I said, they don't have a quarterback.
Not at all. Not at all. Now, getting to y'all. Y'all have Cam Ward, and I'll give you that. Y'all have the number one pick. But like I've told you before, there are a lot of holes that y'all still have to fill in y'all roster. These are things that we don't have a problem for. See, if we gonna really break it down, let's go to the roster. All right. Let's start with, first of all, no fly zone on their defense. The Texans have the ability to have the number one defense in the NFL this year, without question. Why? Because you have it. Because watch, you have not only have Jalen Petrie coming back healthy, as he's going to play at that nickel position that they got him in, but you got a dog that you just got from the Philadelphia Eagles and C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and you already know what type of cat he is. I think he had 5 to 6 interceptions last year.
I'm gonna push back a little bit on C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah,
I know.
A little bit on him because I feel like his best days are behind him. But let me finish my statement. I do think his best days are behind him, but because he's going to be in such a strong defensive back room, it's going to kind of hide his inconsistency. Plus, I think he's probably going to be coached by probably his best defensive coach in his entire career.
Yes,
in Nico Ryans. So that's gonna cover up a lot of his inconsistency. But I don't think he's the dog he was back in, like he used to be.
That's the thing. And see, that's the thing with the majority of our team, right? Like the guys that we've brought in, say the Nick Chubbs, right? You got to look at it. Nick Chubb don't have to be Nick Chubb that he was in Cleveland, right? Joe Mixon don't even have to be Joe Mixon that he was last year, right? So a lot of the depth pieces that Nick Caserio brought in are really going to help alleviate a lot of those nagging injuries that a lot of these guys had last year, right? And so I think that was the biggest thing. I think a lot of people were upset at Nick, even including Texans fans, were upset at Nick for a lot of the moves and decisions that he made in the offseason. They didn't think the offensive line moves were strong enough. They didn't think that was strong enough. But what he did do was silently is he built up a lot of depth in the places that we didn't have depth last year, which was in the offensive line position, the linebacker position, and the running back position. So that way, it does give you an opportunity to be able to make some things happen or alleviate some guys from having to put so much workload on them, right? So I think with that secondary, yeah, CJ Gardner Johnson may not be his best days might be behind him, but at the same time, like you said, he's gonna have so many other dogs from Kamari Lassiter to Kalen Bullock, you know what I'm saying, that he's gonna be able to lean on and be able to guide and teach them, right? The defensive line by itself is gonna be a monster when you got
the edge.
when you got the edge right there with
Will Anderson,
Will
Janelle Hunter.
Anderson, Daniil Hunter. You also got
Danica Autry.
Nico Autry. You know what I'm saying? Like we went back and got Tim Settle, who was really big for us last year. A lot of these guys, people may not know who they are or what their contributions were, but they were really big for us on the defensive line front. And then I mean, hey man, shit. I mean, you got linebackers. Now linebackers are gonna be the weakest situation that we have to the position in defense. But here's the thing: we were able to snatch EJ Speed from the Colts, which I think is going to help us a lot because we kind of had some issues with Christian Harris not really going with his health is, right? So right now, to be honest with you, I think the Texans defense is going to be the best defense in the league. They defense wins championships, but I mean, hey, when you look at it from the offensive side of the ball, our issue last year, even though we won the division, was that our offense could not move, could not get in the end zone. And I think now this year with bringing in Nick Chubb and having Joe Mixon together alleviates that. Also bringing in 6'4", 210-pound Jaden Higgins alleviates that as well. Because now you have another receiver on the side of Nico Collins to be able to go up and get those deep balls, man, when you need them. Pause.
Point of order.
I have a question, man.
Wait, hold on. Go ahead. Panel real quick.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Question.
Point of order. So everything that you're saying, I can't disagree with any of that at all. You're still like you. I'm glad you finished up talking about that draft pick with Jaden Higgins from Iowa State. That was tremendous. But I think quite possibly the Texans' best, in my opinion, their best draft pick, not even offseason signing, but their best draft pick was Ariante Irsay, the offensive tackle out of Minnesota. He is so incredibly underrated.
Yes.
And the issue with the Texans this past season was protecting CJ Stroud.
Yep.
That was really the issue. The defense was already really good. You had a good running game. Then the second issue, in my opinion, was the depth at wide receiver. Losing Tank Dell, losing guys like that. But now, as I look at your roster, you're going to have to cut or trade some really good guys in that wide receiver room because you are overloaded at wide receiver. Tank Dell's going to be on IR still, but then you still got Xavier Hutchinson. Daniel Jackson's there. Xavier Johnson. Johnny Johnson.
Damn.
You just added Christian Kirk. John Mitchell is still there. You have all those guys. Like, you have a loaded wide receiver room, and I think you guys are going to probably have to trade some guys that's got some value before the deadline, or worse, have to cut somebody that's going to get snatched up by another team because they're that good.
Yep.
So you took care of, I really liked, and this is coming from a completely, taking out my fan hat, putting on my analyst hat. The Titans had a draft with that first pick that just lit it up. Okay, Cam, boom, you know, but, and being completely, objective, the Texans had a more complete draft from top to bottom, if that makes sense. Because if you look at the Titans, and honestly, they had the most complete draft in the division. If you look at the Titans, if you look at the Jaguars, and if you look at the Colts, their draft, they had like one guy that's like, boom, okay, cool, yeah, that's man, hey man, that joker tough. But you look at the Texans draft, and it's like, boom, 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 boom. It just kept hitting. It just kept hitting. So and I guess me and Brandon can kind of speak for the Colts and the Jaguars, even though there's not a lot to speak of. We'll represent them in the middle because they don't have any representation. Which, before we go any further, again, we put it out there. If y'all wanted to be a guest, you could have been. So if you're a Jacksonville fan, if you're a Colts fan, and your team ain't getting a whole lot of love on this show, that's your fault. That's all I'm saying. Because we got Titans, we got Texans. All right. I'm backing up. Go ahead.
All right, so OC, you also had a question.
I mean,
he had a question.
Yeah, I mean, like Joe was kind of going on a tangent about how great the Texans are and like how they're gonna win the division and had all these like hopeful ideas about the draft players and the players that they signed. Well, hopefully Nick Chubb is 80% Nick Chubb. Hopefully,
it's fine.
Hopefully Jaden Higgins, does his thing because I'm a Big 12 guy. I watched Iowa State play for the last 4 years, and the guy you got after him actually is better to me than him. One thing that I would say that Pando kind of brought that up was about like needing to protect CJ Stroud. Do you guys feel that Cam Robinson is good enough to protect you guys?
I honestly think that is the Achilles heel of the team right now. I think
That's
that
an important position.
I think actually, a lot of people said that, how can you trade your left tackle away, your Pro Bowl left tackle away? And I don't think it had anything to do with a cancer in the locker room. I don't think Laramie Tunsil is a cancer in the locker room, but I do believe in addition by subtraction. And I do think if you watch the games last year, a lot of the penalties, the penalties that we got were drive killers, and a lot of that had to do with him. So I think at the end of the day, yes, we're losing a guy like that, but I trust in Nick Caserio to put together an offensive line that is going to be a much better than last year. Reason I say that, and I'll make it brief, is because last year at the helm we had Chris Strasser, who was our offensive line coach last year, and his issue was the same issue that Bobby Slowick had, which was Bobby Slowick's issue is he never let CJ Stroud call his own protections, right? And so with Chris Strasser's issue was he really didn't understand when there was an issue that needed to be made. He wanted to stay and stick with his own ideology and philosophy. The assistant offensive line coach, he wasn't flexible. The offensive line coach Cole Popovich, who basically is friends with Caserio, he basically was insinuating that in so many words that he had the answer to fix the offensive line issues last year, but Strasser wouldn't get off of it. So they fired Strasser and they made Popovich the new head offensive line coach. So I suspect that the offensive line will be a lot better than it was last year. And so that's kind of where I'm thinking, but it is an Achilles heel. I do understand that, but I'm and Nick, we trust in that situation.
Oh wow, okay. Well, I wish you guys luck. It's not against us, but I don't think I don't agree with a lot of moves Nick was making. He's hoping, but you guys benefit from being in a weak division, so that kind of helps you out.
Hey, we in the
that
same
helps
division.
Out a lot. Let's be real about it. It helps out a lot.
I will say this to help y'all out though too. Y'all have a really, really good receiver that I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to, and that's Xavier Restrepo. I think his name is.
Free agency.
I heard some good stuff about him.
Nice.
I heard he's been getting some first team reps, and for a guy who was a 4.8 40 receiver, I told you, Pando, I said this guy has been getting first team reps. I'm assuming he got to be a fantastic route runner and has great hands because for you to be a 4.8 wide receiver, I mean, obviously you way too slow for the position. So if you that dang on slow for the position, man, you got to be able to walk on water in some other department. It's got to be route running in hands.
Mm-hmm.
Well, think about Xavier. He was actually hurt on his pro day when he was running his 40. He was still trying to recover from a hamstring injury, but
Okay.
that goes without saying though. But I mean, the dude's all-time Miami Hurricanes leading receiver. You don't just do that with Santana Moss and of course you got
And
Andre.
Santana Moss passed Michael Irvin, so yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, look at them three. You got two Hall of Famers, Irvin and Andre, and then you got Moss and stuff like that though. So, but he's the best out of all of them. Yeah, so he is getting first team reps, and part of part of that is actually Cam's leadership. He gets everyone there at 5 o'clock in the morning, and they're there in the morning before the coaches going over plays. They have a sitting rule, like if you mess up a route or there's a drop, run it over 3 or 4 times until we get it right, because he doesn't like to leave anything on the field unresolved. So the whole culture is starting to change because Cam is leading it, but also with the people that I named before, as far as in the front office, they're making a point to bring guys that are putting football first and about winning and about doing things the right way. So just changing the culture to kind of what it was before when we had Vrabel. I know it's still a sore subject for a lot of Titans fans. Why do we let him go? But I thought it was a good move. I thought the moves afterwards weren't that good.
Not to cut you off, but there's a guy that you guys drafted, and I think he's the sleeper of your draft. I was very impressed with him, and he's flew all the way under the radar. He fell all the way to the 4th round.
I think sleeper.
Huh?
Alec
Amor.
Yeah, that boy nice.
Ayo Manor. I think I said that right.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I liked him a lot, but the dude that we got before him, Chairman DK, I think he's gonna be a sleeper right there.
Kid from Florida.
Yeah, he's a fast dude. And you guys that used to be Oilers fans, you guys remember Chris Sanders? He reminded me of Chris Sanders a little bit, that fast guy that could just blow top off a defense, just really good guy that actually likes to work hard, and he has some return ability too. So I do feel that we're in a good position to actually be better. I think that Cam fits the offense that Cali wants to do a lot better. He's more of a West Coast run and shoot type offensive type player, where I thought Will Levis and Tannehill were more play action type guys. So back when we had Derrick Henry, it fit their play style. But Arthur Smith left to be the head coach for the Falcons, and now he's working with the Steelers. Mm-hmm. So ever since then, the whole team identity changed. I mean, that's kind of why we had to let go of Derrick Henry last year. I wish we traded him and got some draft capital, but Rand Carthan, the former GM that's not with us anymore, didn't want to do that. So I think we're in a good spot, and I think that we're gonna be a lot of teams are actually gonna be sleeping on us that might end up actually losing to us.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead, and that was great analysis by both of you, for Tennessee and for Houston. I'm gonna go ahead, and me and Brandon are gonna talk a little bit about the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Indianapolis Colts. So again, I talked about how Tennessee drafted Cam Ward, boom, big splash drafting, and then I talked about a couple of sleepers. Then I talked about how top to bottom Houston's draft was great. I really feel like the Jaguars did not do much in the draft outside of Travis Hunter.
No, I agree.
And Travis Hunter, and here's the thing, they moved up to get Travis Hunter and didn't do much after that. It's not a lot to speak of for a team that's not really, they don't suck. But let's be honest, at the end of the season, they're not going to have a whole lot to scream football for. No. Okay? They didn't do a whole lot in the offseason as far as free agency. You brought in Nick Mullins, who probably is going to get some playing time this year because Sunshine is probably going to get injured again. Yeah, and De'Ami Brown is a nice receiver. That's cool. But they don't move. Their moves did not move the needle outside of Emmanuel Ogbah. Okay. Jordan Lewis, former Cowboy. Huh?
Ogbah, that's a good pickup.
That's a decent pickup. But what's really gonna hinge on for Jacksonville is going to be more than anything else. And I think what up, Q? I didn't see you in, but I think what's going to happen is they're going to, how can I say, they're going to misplay Travis Hunter. And what I mean by that, they're going to put him in positions where he can't excel. And now, when we scouted him, I scout receivers and defensive backs for the show. And I looked at his film as a receiver, and I looked at his film as a corner. And some people might push back on me, but he's a better corner
than receiver.
Than he is.
For sure.
He's a good receiver. He's a great corner. Now, if you want to try to get paid a lot of money, he needs to play receiver. But if he wants to go to the Hall of Fame, he needs to play corner. That's my opinion of just looking at film. I think they're gonna have him playing too much receiver. Because outside of Brian Thomas, De'Ami Brown's okay, but there's not much of a receiving core. And they're gonna put him. Brandon was talking about this before. Brandon, I ain't trying to steal your thunder, but Brandon has talked about this before. He said, and I agree with him. He said that if you putting Travis Hunter in certain situations where he's the third or the fourth receiver on the field, he's against the third or fourth corner, whatever like that, or they're playing a zone, that's where he can excel. But if you don't have enough talent above him, now you're going to be trying to lean on him too much. And then you got to go on this other side of the ball and play defense. Which
in other words, he's gonna get overused in Jacksonville. And when you asking a young man, and now listen, and I've said this too, this is a first for everything, okay? But none of us have seen a football player go both ways for 130 snaps for 17 games. You asking a lot for this young man to do that. And that's what we both believe is going to happen to Travis Hunter. Because I said, and Eric is right what I said, if he goes somewhere like Philadelphia where they have a Jalen Hurts, a Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and tight end Dallas Goedert, okay, fine. Let him start a corner and then come in certain situations, play wide receiver. If you're in San Francisco and you got a Christian McCaffrey, when Brandon Ayuk gets healthy, or Juwan Jennings, George Kittle, and the fullback, Juszczyk, thank you, Kyle Juszczyk. Okay, now let's go ahead and bring him in again on certain situations and let him be the third or fourth receiver. That's fine. But Jacksonville is going to lean real heavy on this young man at corner and receiver. And I just don't see him lasting long. And at corner, he's got to deal with the Houston Texans receivers. The Titans receivers are going to be better than I thought initially. And the Colts still have Michael Pittman. Then you're going to ask him to flip around to wide receiver, and you got to deal with Derek Stingley. You got to deal with I don't know who Tennessee has at corner.
We got Snead if he's healthy.
Okay, Snead. Okay, and then and I don't know who the Colts have a corner, but but then even if you go outside of the division, the entire AFC is tough, and eventually he's going to see these AFC teams, whether they're in the AFC West and especially the AFC North, or even the AFC East. So the point I'm making is Travis Hunter is going to go through something that we have never seen before, and right now, to me, it's just not looking good. And you gave up a lot to rely on something that's unproven.
Now, granted, I want to make sure people at home are make sure they understand this. This is not a Travis Hunter bashing session.
No, it's not. Not at all. We just never seen something like this before.
But the thing is, I don't think that this, and I could be wrong, but I don't think that this coaching staff is smart enough to manage his snaps to where you're not going to wear him down toward the last third of the season.
No.
I think that's going to be the problem. And I think they're putting all their eggs in the Travis Hunter. Oh, we got Travis Hunter. Well, that's it. It's like, nah, bro. No, you need more.
And Brian Thomas.
Yeah. Brian Thomas is phenomenal. But like Travis Hunter should be your third or fourth or even fifth option at wide receiver.
Yeah. And I'm sorry to cut you off, but another problem that Jacksonville has is they have a roster full of guys that, give me a second. Pando misses Trent Baalke, and Trent Baalke was the GM for Jacksonville the last few years.
I hate Trent Baalke.
Okay.
If I ever see Trent Baalke,
that roster's full of players that got overpaid. Now Christian Kirk is in Houston now, but he's not the starter, so I'm not worried about that. But he's not the main guy, so I'm not worried about that. And we said this in OC, we said this on the show years ago when Christian Kirk got that big contract in Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. It was 20 to 30 wide receivers better than him.
He messed up the market.
He messed up the wide receiver market by doing that nonsense. And he's also messed up some other
Eric James, what's up? Go ahead.
What's up, Eric James? But there's some other markets he messed up as well by giving guys big contracts to. Like he gave Trevor Lawrence $55 million a year to do what? And he's done what? and he's giving other guys contracts. So Jacksonville has a lot of cleaning up to do, and put the chips all into Travis Hunter. It's almost like you putting Travis Hunter on this pedestal and saying, hey, rescue us, save us, you're a fireman, our house is on fire, put the flames out. And it's like, no, good luck. And the way you're trying to do it, you asking him to be Superman, Batman, Captain Planet, Power Rangers, VR Troopers all combined into one.
It's not gonna work.
So I have a question. I have a question since y'all are on the Colts and the Jaguars right now.
All right.
Do y'all believe that the Jaguars jumped the gun by one, firing Doug Peterson, and two, trading up to get Travis Hunter when they probably could have stayed?
Let me go first.
Okay.
I wouldn't have wasted the draft capital to move up.
No.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing. And for those of y'all who watched our draft show, you saw us pitching a fit on that live broadcast when they moved us. Like, why would you do that? I said you did all of that to lose the division to Houston anyway. Like, that's what you did. You did not move the needle. You got one player. And in this day and age, I think everybody agrees in this day and age, if you're a team that has not made the playoffs and you out there with pretty much your whole team healthy, but you ain't made the playoffs, you need players, not a player. And now, again, was it Ranstraw? I think that's his name. They drafted another corner. He's decent. He's good. I don't want to besmirch any of those guys, but when you look at the first thing you want to do when you're looking at your offseason is, okay, where did we finish? Okay, we need to try to win our division. That's step one. That's step one all the time, win our division. Then we go, okay, now let's look at whoever else is in the conference. Mm-hmm. Are we better than the other teams in our division? Okay, now are we better than the other teams in our conference? Now, are we better than everybody in the NFL because now you're a Super Bowl contender? That's the steps you have to take to get to contention. And I feel like Jacksonville is not doing it like that. You have teams that are in contention that didn't quite make the Super Bowl or got the Super Bowl, maybe didn't win. Those are guys that are one player away. Those are teams that have, hey, one or two players, we straight, But Jacksonville went into the draft with this mindset like they've arrived and they just one player away. That's kind of what that mentality was. Now, I'm indifferent about the Doug Peterson fight. I'm kind of indifferent about that. If you really want to put a gun in my head and tell me, get me to give it my opinion on it, you wasn't doing much anyway. So, like, y'all gotta learn how to be patient in Duval County.
For real.
Yeah, they're not patient. They up here thinking Mark Brunell and Fred Taylor finna come walking back through the door. And it ain't gonna happen.
Jimmy Smith, man. What?
Yeah, and Jimmy Smith. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's not gonna happen. Y'all gotta be patient. Y'all gotta build from the ground up, Jacksonville. Okay.
And that's what they gotta do.
Al Brady.
And that's why I said. That's why I said you just came off of GM and Trent Baalke, who gave off outrageous contracts.
He destroys everything he touches.
And Eric knows this because Trent Baalke was in San Francisco with Jim Harbaugh.
Jim Harbaugh would still be our damn coach if it wasn't for Trent Baalke.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's on site. When I see Trent Baalke, it's on site.
On site.
Okay, now listen.
And Duval County, it should be on site if y'all see Trent Baalke.
Panda. Okay, all right. My bad. I mean, I flared them up. My bad. See, but anyway,
hey, you can't do that, Brandon. You already know how you feel about Trent Baalke.
Hey, but listen. So, and I know we need to move on, Pando, but the thing is, like you said, we both said it, and we said it two different ways. They need to clean up. Now, Doug Peterson, and I'm gonna say what Tristan has said about Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson was successful in Philadelphia because he had a bunch of veterans.
Yeah,
they coached themselves.
And strong.
He came to a team that was young, and it was like, oh, what do I do with these guys? I got to actually coach. Yeah, you actually got coach.
Come on.
You had a bunch of veterans that year that went to the Super Bowl. You had Nick Foles, you had Chris Long, you had Jay Ajayi. You had some other running back, and I don't remember the entire roster because that was 10 years ago. But the thing about it is, though, you had a bunch of veterans, guys who didn't need a lot of guidance. You know, they've been in the league 7, 8, 9 years, so they can basically coach themselves. They good. They know football situation. They know NFL situation.
And don't forget an elite offensive line too.
Yeah, they had the graphics line.
Yeah, that time. Yeah, during that time, they had the elite offensive line as well. So that probably hit a lot of his stuff. Now you come to Jacksonville, you got a bunch of young guys. It's like, damn, I got a coach. Yeah, you got a coach, dude.
And that's not saying he couldn't coach, but he didn't get a lot of time.
They were also he had a bad GM above him too. Which
don't get me started talking about that fool again. Yeah, he had a bad GM.
I'm just saying, but that's a factor though. It's a factor.
And he had a young team, and that takes time to develop that into something. Just because he had that success with the Eagles does not mean he was going to have that success in Jacksonville like that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It takes time to build that. So that's Jacksonville Jaguars. One. Y'all should be hunting down Trent Baalke more than I should, because it's a little bit fresher with y'all, because this new regime is going to have to come in and clean up his mess before things get better, before you can say we're contending for the division, so on and so forth. Okay, now you got a halfway decent team, but you got to do something coaching wise, and then you look. You got to do something coaching wise, and you got to let's talk about the elephant in the room. I ain't trying to take over, but the generational talent ain't looking so generational at quarterback.
He's not.
I pulled it out. Yeah, you ain't pulled it out.
Listen, and that's why I just said the $55 million. Why are you paying the $55 million? Ain't doing nothing for you.
Hey, come on now.
I was not against giving him an extension. But not $55 million. I'm sorry. You could have came in much lower than that. And if he wouldn't accept it, I would have let dude walk.
It was the locks, man. That's what it was. He came in with them golden locks.
Yeah.
Listen. This ain't
I'm beautiful, damn it.
Time out. Listen, this ain't Remember the Titans, okay?
Right.
Coach Boone has Sunshine on lockdown, okay?
Hey,
he had Sunshine lockdown. He made sure that he still knew that this was his team.
Yep.
Okay, Doug Peterson didn't do that. So all that flapping the hair and all that stuff and snapping your fingers and stuff, and I'm gonna go get my hair done and put some.
Wait, got to snap. Wait, he was snapping his fingers.
I ain't talking about the little John and E40 snap fingers. Okay, you know what kind of snap fingers I'm talking about? Them girls, them high school girls that like to snap their fingers, roll their necks and roll their eyes and stuff. That's the snap fingers I'm talking about. I ain't talking about the we ain't doing no John E40 right now. Okay,
where are we going with
I
this?
think honestly, honestly think that the Jags might be better than we think. They got some weapons. I mean, like we talked about ETN at running back. You got Thomas. He had a great rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ingram. He's a great dynamic tight end. And like honestly, like the head coach said,
Ingram's gone. Ingram's
Yeah,
Denver.
Evan Ingram's gone.
Yeah, he got traded. My bad. But
and by the way, sorry to cut you off again. NTN, I've heard he's been on the trade block.
He's on the block, which is insane.
That is insane. I didn't know that.
Insane.
Hey, we'll take him.
They say I'm here. He's on the trade block. Hey, there's some running backs. Hey, listen, there's some running backs that could be on the trade block. Pierce, ATN, and I'm hearing Hall in New York with the Jets could be on the trade block too. So there's some backs on the trade block. But
let me tell you something.
I like the new head coach though. That was a good move.
So let's talk about Indianapolis because we've been harping.
I know we brought Jacksonville. Hey, listen, but hey, that's what we do, man. That's what we do on this show.
Cause we go ham on somebody in a minute. We be like, give me 45 minutes and another thing. But no. So the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh God,
they have so many questions at quarterback. Yeah, I mean,
you know they got Daniel Jones.
OC.
You and Daniel Jones, man.
OC.
Come on, man.
OC.
I love him. That's
OC.
2 wins.
OC.
It is.
Pando, stop.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that, brother.
Wait. Hold on, man. Because you gotta be trolling, right? You trolling OC?
No, I ain't trolling.
Hey, Brandon, that's 2 wins, man.
That's 2 wins, man.
That's 2 wins.
Joe, let me tell you something. You gonna rely on Daniel Jones?
We had 3 last year.
Well, no, I know why you gonna rely on Daniel Jones. I know. Matter of fact, I know why you love Daniel Jones. I called on. I know why you love Daniel Jones. You're right. That's 2 wins. You're right. You're right.
Hey, keep him there.
Right. Yeah, because guess what? That was 2 wins for us for a long time, and I was loving it.
Hey, you understand? You understand? Yeah. You should understand more than anybody being a Cowboy fan.
Dude,
what's up, Jay?
Yeah,
of course I understand because that dude will sit there and be 60 yards down the field and fall forward on his face and fumble the football out of bounds. And you'd be like, what in the world does this kid do?
I mean, Daniel Jones is he's how can I put it?
He's not Danny Dimes. I tell you that much.
Danny Pennies, but
no, he ain't Danny Pennies either. He's Danny Rocks.
Yeah, man. But then you talk about Anthony Richardson because we be remiss if we left him out of the conversation.
Oh, get me started with him.
I left him out of the conversation because he's hurt.
Because that's what I'm saying.
Thank you. Hey Joe, say that again.
Again.
Thank you.
So first thing first, that's the injury thing. That's the right. That's right there in your face. That's the front door. That's the screen door. You ain't got to the front door. But then, even if there wasn't the issue of the injuries, you would still be talking about he's so damn raw. Still, he has not been developed. Still. So you look at like, hey man. So honestly, they're gonna have to really lean on Jonathan Taylor and make this really simple. If they try to do anything past that,
they did that last year too.
Right? Yeah.
They had that too. And like honestly, let's be real about it. There were some times when there were some balls that were wide open that Anthony Richardson just missed.
Like, oh yeah.
It's not developed. And here's the thing. Listen. Let me tell you something. I get tired of players coming out of college, quarterbacks, and everybody keep talking about how strong their arm is. Oh, he could throw the ball 95 yards down the field. But when either Richard or Milton came out of college, one of them threw the ball and it hit like the roof of the dome or whatever. I don't care about that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. That don't mean nothing to me. I saw that with Kyle Bowler. I saw that with Jamarcus Russell.
Man.
That don't mean nothing to me. All that, I don't care.
But see, that's also why I said what I said about the Titans and the Colts last year, which was I think they saw us draft CJ at 2, and I think they just took quarterbacks just because they wanted to try to compete, with the Texans. But it's like, hey, y'all didn't have to take Anthony Richardson at 4. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Titans didn't have to go get Will Levis.
Well, my thing is
We
this.
sure-
Hold on.
And that's
okay.
why he's fired too.
Okay, but okay. Hold on. Wait. Here's my thing. Here's my little pushback against that. I understand where you're coming from. We're not taking the quarterbacks, but my thing is, if you're going to take a quarterback, and I guess I'm about to do the circling back because I'm going back to you now, OC. When it comes to Vince Young, if you're going to take a quarterback, regardless if you wanted him or not, because I know the owner, Bud Adams, wanted him at the time. But you need to have a plan when you bring these quarterbacks into your building. You need an offensive coordinator or play callers, whatever. You need offensive line. You need weapons, and you need to have a plan for him. Anthony Richardson. Yes, I understand he's a problem. The whole thing is not on him. You have to develop him, and you have to give him, and you didn't have to start him. That's the thing. You didn't have to start the guy. You could have brought another veteran, let him be the bridge starter for a year or two, and then Richardson.
They had Flacco, didn't they?
Is that? I mean, yeah. I mean,
but okay. But even when you had Joe Flacco, did you really take the time? Well, he's also been hurt too, so you can't really. You only have time to develop it because he's hurt. So he's behind. He's so far behind schedule now that I think at some point you're just going to have to end up having to cut ties with him. Unfortunately, he's going to go somewhere and be a backup for a while and just sit and learn. And that's the unfortunate. Now for Will Levis, same thing. You got to have a plan for him. And I don't know if Tennessee had a plan for Will Levis. I don't know if Tennessee had a plan for a lot of those first round picks they had that became busts. Eric Pandle said no, and so. That's hold on. Just let me finish up real quick. Give me one more minute. You have to have a plan for these guys. And if you don't have a plan, they're going to be a bust. And I know some of these guys are just terrible. Anyway, I get it, but
it's terrible.
But I've always said on the show,
terrible.
You got to scout, draft, and develop the players. And teams really struggle at scouting quarterbacks. They really do. And they overdraft quarterbacks every year. And if you're a team like San Francisco or Brock Purdy or Houston with CJ Stroud, like this coming draft for 2026, there's going to be about 5 or 6 guys going in the first round, probably in the top 10. So that's going to knock a lot of good players down the board for teams like you guys to say, hey, look, we don't need a quarterback. We just get one of these great players and keep building our roster.
Let me be real about this too.
Yeah.
If Caleb Williams doesn't wait and he comes out beforehand, he goes before Anthony Richardson.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I mean, we all know. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No. I was just gonna say we all know why a lot of GMs do that also, and why not just GMs but teams in general why they choose a lot of the quarterbacks that they do, because let's also be real.
It's a flashy toy.
It's some teams that's not really trying to win a Super Bowl. It's some teams that's just trying to stay relevant enough to where they can put butts in seats. So if I got a guy that looks the part, then we just gonna roll with him. So we know why quarterbacks get chosen prematurely sometimes without having a plan.
But you know what, Joe? Guess what?
If you miss on a quarterback, that will set your franchise back 3 to 5 years.
Thank you. But also, Joe,
if you miss on a first round quarterback.
But also, Joe, what puts fans in the stands is you win the Super Bowls. You don't have to draft that quarterback. You can go get the best player available. And if the fans don't like it, tough, too bad, but you got to build your roster still.
You can, but see, I look at it the same way I view the NBA, right? And I'm really versed on the NBA and how they move. And if we being quite honest, it's maybe a handful of teams that are ready to compete for a Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Just the same way there are a handful of teams at the beginning of the season. Hell, at the trade deadline that are or free agency that are ready to, actually compete for a championship or a Super Bowl. So to be honest with you, it's like a lot of those bottom tier teams, like New York knows they're not going to be ready to compete for a Super Bowl. So their thing is, hey, we're going to try to do our best to keep butts in the seat. Why else would you not draft Shador Sanders and you bring in
Really? Okay, let's
what's it
not go
called?
there.
Jackson.
No,
I
let's
know,
not go there.
I get it,
Hey,
but
well, okay. So now let me push back on you on that one.
Top 10.
I've seen teams flip in 1 year. Washington just did it.
Well,
It's
yeah.
possible.
Washington just
Why?
did it.
Why? Because they hit on their quarterback.
But think about it though, like,
And they building a legitimate roster.
yeah.
You have to
maybe.
no. All this, I'm just trying to keep us in the seats. To me, that is a lackadaisical excuse. I'm sorry. Again,
Yeah.
you have to scout, you have to draft, and you have to develop. Is it going to take a while? Yes. Okay. It took Detroit a while. Look at what Detroit became. Okay.
Oh wow. That's an
Yeah,
understatement.
wow.
No. Okay. When I say wow, I'm talking about when Dan Campbell took over. When Dan
Oh
Campbell
yeah.
took
Yeah,
over,
you took him a while, man.
it took a while,
It took him
but
3 years.
right. So you have to go through that rebuilding process. And my thing is, I think teams are afraid to go through a true rebuild process where they have to gut the team, and then as they gut the team, bring in rookies and they develop them and they get them ready. And then by year 3 or year 4, like a Detroit Lions, hey, I'm ready to blow up.
But see, again, you have to have a you have to have ownership that is the great Prof Thornton like to say, gotta have kahunas, man. Like you gotta have
You don't have okay. So let me ask you a question.
I think it's like more patience than that, though.
You a billionaire? You don't have kahunas?
no, because again, you got to think about it. Some of these guys that own these teams, this is their side business. This isn't a business that they actually care about, right? It's a lot of owners that in all sports leagues that these sports teams that they own are just kind of side businesses, and they really don't care how they're how they're winning as long as they're generating money, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times, like, you have those owners that really care about winning, and they're going to do everything possible in order to make that happen. And sometimes that takes you to do exactly what you're saying, is do a real rebuild, right? And start from the ground up, which is what Detroit did, because they were tired of losing so much and they wanted to give the city something to be excited about. And it starts with your ownership making the right coaching hire. And they made the right coaching hire when they got Dan Campbell.
And
The
Jim.
Texans, hey, right here, we understand what it means to be on the other side of what it means by having a team that's just worried about putting butts in the seats. We made the right coaching hire by getting D'Amico Ryans. So I mean, again, hey, it really comes down, winning the championship is not solely on the
I like
players.
D'Amico.
It starts with the ownership.
God, I need to be an owner. I need to be an owner, man.
I
Sheesh.
just want to be a GM. That's all.
Hey,
I need to. Hey, listen, man. Listen. If I'm the owner, man, we're going to Super Bowl every year.
Okay.
hey, look,
So,
politics is in that too. So
I understand that, man.
you
But
got to fight
man,
politics, man.
listen, man. I don't do politics. Okay, you talking about politics to the wrong person, man. I don't do politics. We're going to Super Bowl every year, man. Shoot, you going?
Don't worry about the money. We got it. We'll
Because
find
Back
it.
to what you got.
I ain't afraid to go through a true rebuild and build me a roster, and we ready to go in 3 or 4 years, man.
Yeah. Like, kind of going back to, you guys talked about getting the QB and developing them. Honestly, the thing with the Colts and Richardson, I was watching his whole draft story, his whole draft like story and everything. He had an interview, right? They asked him about the NFL and him being able to adjust to the NFL speed and defenses and concepts. I mean, the comment he made kind of came off almost like he wasn't taking his job seriously, because he made a comment, I don't want to misquote him, was about like how like he ain't got no help in the team that he's playing for in Florida, and he's carrying them, and like he can do the same thing in the NFL. So he kind of came in there with a lot of arrogance, feeling that the whole NFL is pretty easy. I'm an athlete. I love Vince Young, and I like you, man, but like I don't think you take your job too seriously, and that caused this to like not be developed as well as it can be, and it came out very unprofessional. Because remember, the coach benched him. The coach did bench Richardson. For him like not being a professional football player and not being the right face of the franchise, and that's what he did. And the same thing back when Vince Young was playing. After like he missed that plane flight, with the team, Fisher kind of, did what he felt was best for the team, So I think a lot of it has to do not just athletic ability, but also to, with your mindset.
So let me ask you a question: When did Anthony Richardson make that quote? Did he make that quote before the draft or after he was drafted by the Colts?
Before the draft.
So guess what? That's the Indianapolis Colts fault for taking somebody who had an obvious red flag. And again, that's what it goes back to scouting, drafting, 100%. And developing. You missed that red flag as a franchise, as an organization. If he's not going to take anything serious as a quarterback, why you draft him in the first round? You could. I'm not going to go back to that draft, and I'll do that later. And I'm going to make note of that. Because you could have got somebody else. It may not have been a quarterback, but you could have got somebody else, and you could have gotten a quarterback later on.
I'm gonna tell you what.
They felt that when they got him, and that
rest in peace, Jim Irsay.
They thought that he was gonna maybe rub off on him and show him that, like the right way to actually be a professional.
No.
I think that's kind of what they thought.
When the Texans drafted C.J. Stroud,
that was that Ryan Leaf syndrome. Ryan Leaf syndrome. Before he got drafted, he said something about. I forgot what he said, but he said something, and it didn't sit right. And the Chargers took him anyway, and we saw what Ryan Leaf's career was. But I'm glad he went to rehab and everything else is fine. But
he's doing his thing now.
But all I'm saying is,
I don't think they knew.
When the quarterback gives you said what?
I don't think they knew they were going to.
I saw it. I saw
what?
I don't think they knew they were going to take him at 4. I think when the Texans drafted CJ at 2 and then traded up to get Will Anderson at 3, I think they panicked, and I think they said we have to get somebody.
You panic and got a red flag player. Stop it.
Hey, look, listen. Jim Irsay is the same guy that traded away Peyton Manning.
So, he traded with Peyton Manning because he probably felt like he was going to get
and Andrew Luck.
And he ran Andrew Luck into the ground.
No, I know he ran Andrew Luck to the ground.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, again, GMs, owners, they make haphazard decisions and based off of what other teams are doing. We're picking right behind our division rival, right? Because you got to think about it. The Colts have been whooping the Colts have been whooping the Texans behind for a long time. So,
I cannot take a red flag quarterback.
No.
I don't care what anybody does in front of me. I don't care if you're in my division. I'm sorry, I can't do it.
It lets you know just how weak our division has been for the last couple of years.
I understand it, but I cannot. That's to me, that's a lame duck excuse, and I just won't settle with that.
Hey, man,
you panicked and took a red flag. No.
So now we're reaping what we sow in Indianapolis with that.
Yeah.
Not only do we have a red flag quarterback, but we have what is slowly starting to creep into being an injury-prone red flag quarterback, and you have nothing behind him. I'm sorry. When people bring up Daniel Jones, I say you have nothing behind him. you know in Indianapolis, you have no.
What's that nonsense?
You have no quarterback in Indianapolis. You do not have a stable quarterback situation.
OC, you're wasting time looking at the quarterback depth chart in Indianapolis. You're wasting your time, man. Listen,
don't even look at it.
OC,
you do not have a quarterback.
Listen.
Yeah, man. Let me just look for a little bit.
Listen, man. Listen. One of us might as well be the quarterback and get paid veteran minimum money in the NFL.
Yeah, Riley Leonard.
Who?
Okay, never mind.
That's what I said. You waste your time.
So with that,
OC, listen, man. Listen, hold on, man. Listen. OC, you wasted 20 seconds of your life that you can't get back, man.
I'm looking it up now because I just want to.
Joe, no, stop. Y'all wasting time in your life that you can't get back.
I just want to see how bad it is.
Man, I love Sunshine. I love.
This is what I need y'all to do. This is what I need y'all to do. Listen. This is what I need y'all to do. When we finish with the show tonight, I need y'all to go to your loved ones and get a hug because you lost 20 seconds that you can't get back. Okay, just go hug a loved one. I don't know who's in your house or whatever, but go hug a loved one because you just lost 20 seconds that you can't get back in your life. Please do that for me.
Okay, with that,
I love me.
With that, we're gonna go ahead and go into our picks.
Love me some me.
So
there you go.
So this
ITO.
This is the order that we're going in. This is the order that we're going in. We're gonna go. We go snake, and we go start with number 4, and then we go. The last person to give the number 4 gives that number 3, so on and so forth. So we're in this order. I was last week, so I'm gonna be first. Then Brandon, then Steve's and Tristan, who are not here, but I have their picks. Then Joe, then OC. So for my absolute worst team in the AFC South, which actually be one of the
receipts
teams.
too.
Huh?
Oh, he keeps the receipts.
You don't know. You don't. On Just a Fan podcast, I'm the accountant. I'll pull stuff out from 18 weeks ago. Nah, you said I'm serious. It's right here. I'll be like, here. It's right here. Yeah, no. Look at. Let me show you something. You see this?
Okay.
Yeah. That's this year. I got one from last year. It's over here.
Okay, good.
Okay, I keep receipts. So, with that in mind, my pick for the worst team in the AFC South, and quite possibly the AFC, and quite possibly the league this year, is the Indianapolis Colts, because you don't have a quarterback. They're going to finish dead last in this division, and I stand on that 10 toes down. Brandon.
Man, listen, when it comes to number 4 in the AFC South, man, this team does not have a quarterback. I did look at their roster. First of all, I see, and this is going to be a dead giveaway when I start calling out names, but Jonathan Taylor has 2 years left on his contract. I wonder how much longer he's going to be in Indianapolis. Quentin Nelson is probably going to get a contract extension just because they're going to try to keep him there, whatever. Eric Pando, I don't know how Laquan Treadwell is still on the roster, but whatever.
Yeah,
like Ole Miss Laquan Treadwell.
Yeah,
like be hiding in the corner or something like on cut day. Like, I think we got everybody. Yeah, once we pick up yeah, let's go.
You're on the roster.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. And I tell you what. I don't know how it would be possible, but I want my Cowboys to trade for DeForest Buckner. So that's what I want. But anyway, yeah, I just think the Colts are the worst team in that division, man. Like I said, no quarterback. Anthony Richardson is still underdeveloped. He's behind development because of injuries, and that whole red flag thing, I didn't know anything about that. So that just to me makes things worse. So you don't have a quarterback. Matter of fact, I thought the head coach and the GM would have been fired this offseason, but they weren't. So I'm sure they got to be on a hot seat. They got to be on a hot seat. So yeah, coach, yeah, that's the last place team, and they should have a new GM and head coach this coming off season. So yeah, and that was coach number 4.
Steve also picked the Indianapolis Colts for number 4, and so did Tristan. Joe.
Hey, start your rebuild right now, man. Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah.
Start it right now. And to go even further, I got them only winning possibly maybe 3 to 5 games next year. This year.
But here's the good news for Indianapolis. You might be in place to draft a quarterback next year.
One of these quarterbacks, either Arch Manning or that kid from LSU or that kid.
Aren't you gonna play like a couple more years?
They got choices. They just can't screw it up this time.
They got choices.
They can't screw it up this time, no, because they screwed it up last time.
But even if Arch Manning don't come out, like I said, the kid from LSU, Nussmeier's coming out. I think it's a kid from South Carolina's coming out. I think it's a kid from Oklahoma, something like that.
Beck is gonna come out too this year, probably.
Who?
Beck.
Okay.
Beck.
Okay.
Yeah.
But my point is, and Tristan, who's not on tonight, is our resident quarterback guy. He says there's about 5 to 6 quarterbacks possibly going in the first round. So yeah, the coach, you can get one of these guys, and you need to let go of Danny Rocks and Red Flag Richardson. That's his new nickname, Red Flag Richardson.
All right, OC, your number 4.
Man, I'm gonna go different, man. I'm gonna go Jags.
Okay, and I'm not mad.
Yeah, I'm going Jags. For several reasons. Because at first I have I had the Colts and the Jags kind of weighing them in. I just think that I know Jones ain't the best thing, but Trevor Lawrence, I've seen him for like 4 years. He ain't shown me nothing. I haven't seen him like carry a team on his back. I haven't seen him actually like win anything that's of significance. A couple of years ago, the Titans, he had a chance to beat the Titans to go in the playoffs, and the Titans went in there and beat the brakes off of them.
I forgot about that.
So
yeah,
hey, Texans, you're welcome. So
thank you.
So I just don't see that. And plus too, they have a new head coach in Cohen. I don't think he's going to be able to maximize Travis Hunter's ability. And that's going to be an issue, and that's going to be something that he's going to be dealing with as a first-year head coach. So I'm going with the Jags as number 4.
Okay, not mad at you. Not mad at you for that at all.
All right, so OC is back on you. You're number 3.
Number 3, I got the Colts.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think Steichen's is a better head coach. I think he'll get the most out of Daniel Jones. I like the running back situation though, as far as Taylor.
Okay.
I like Pittman, and I think they have better defensive players overall. Even though the Jags do have some great defensive ends,
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that for real.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Joe, number 3.
Number 3, Jaguars. Thank you, OC, for that. I forgot that they couldn't even beat the Titans when they needed to, and they were all healthy.
Exactly.
I forgot about that. So yeah, the Jags definitely are 3. Only reason why I think they may have a better fitting is because of their schedule. That's the only reason why, because I think the Colts have a harder schedule than the Jaguars do, which is why I put them 4th and why I put them at 3rd. So yeah.
All right. Tristan also has Jacksonville as number 3. Steve has Tennessee at number 3. Brandon.
Okay.
Yeah, I got Jacksonville number 3 as well. The roster is not strong enough. They need to go through a full rebuild, but they didn't do that. So this is going to be a wasted season. Like I said, you lost a tight end in Ingram. Etienne is on the trade block. It seemed like everything's just going to be on Trevor Lawrence and Travis Hunter's shoulders, and to me, that's not the way to go. So they'd be number 3. I mean, I could have put them in number 4, but potato, tomato, whatever. Who cares?
So you have Brandon has
Jacksonville 3.
Jacksonville. Okay. I have for my number. Now I'm gonna be honest. My number 3 and my number 2 are interchangeable. I mean, like if the wind blows a certain way this season, they can flip flop. So take what I will stand 10 toes down about is my last place and my first place. The 2 middle teams, which probably won't make the playoffs anyway. That's why it's kind of like indifferent. The bottom team is gonna get a high draft pick. That's why I'm like really, really adamant about that. But the 2 middle teams, it's not gonna make that much of a difference anyway because they won't make the playoffs. But for my 3rd place team, I have Tennessee Titans because although Cam Ward is there, and I think Cam Ward is arguably the best quarterback prospect in this draft, arguably. He's still a rookie. And also there's not quite enough team around him just yet. I think you're going to see some things out of Cam Ward this year that's going to let you know, okay, Tennessee picked right, but they need this, and this. It's kind of like I watched Caleb Williams this year, and not to get off on a tangent, but I watched Caleb Williams this year, and he had flashes where it was like, okay, Chicago picked right. They just need this, and this around it. Mm-hmm. And that's how I feel Cam Ward's first season in the league is going to go. You're going to see some things from him. It's like, okay, yeah, they made the right pick. That brother just needs this, and this, you know. So I got Tennessee as my third place team. It goes back to me second place. I got Jacksonville as my second place because although Sunshine is not a generational talent, they still got a little bit more complete roster than Tennessee. I'm not gonna say that Cam Ward is better than Lawrence, but I think
he is.
I think he ain't played it down yet.
Nah, I ain't worried about it. He's been there for 4 years, man. We know what he got.
He ain't played it down in the NFL yet.
Okay.
That means what you did in college means absolutely nothing to me. Once you didn't walk across that stage and hug Roger Goodell, what you did in college means nothing. So he's still a rookie. You got to step on the field and you got to prove. Okay. So and Donald, you may be right, but
he may be right.
But Jacksonville has more of a complete roster than Tennessee.
Yeah, I give you that one.
Okay, and Cam. And you cut me out, but I was going to say Cam has the potential to probably be better than Lawrence. I was going to say that. But right now, we don't know. So that's what I'm saying. We don't know. But I think he has the potential to be better than Lawrence. He's going to do more, but they got to put the pieces around him throughout time. Okay, so my second place team is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Brandon.
My second place team is Tennessee, and I'm going to kind of push back a little bit. I think that Cam Ward can be somewhat of a point guard this year because 100%. I'm not saying the receivers are game changer, but to me, it's enough to keep him at second place because Calvin Ridley is still there. They can, if you, my thing is this: if you can scheme guys open, you can make them look better than what they are. You got Calvin Ridley. I know Burke hasn't done much of anything at all since he's been drafted in the first round, but now
he's a ghost.
But also, this and maybe I'm going to stand on the mountain 10 toes down by myself on this. If this Xavier Rest Pro does what I think he can do, he can probably help elevate this team enough just to be in second place, and then they need to continue to build on that next year. But I think I think it might just be enough.
It's gonna be on Brian Callahan. It's all in his court.
Oh, I know it is. It's but I think it might be just enough to get second place in that division.
Okay. All right. So Steve picked Jacksonville second. Tristan picked Tennessee second. Like I said, Jacksonville and Tennessee are flip-flopping between 2 and 3. Right here. Joe, number 2.
I'm gonna go with the Titans. But I like where they're headed. And I'm listening to what I'm saying now because I'm not gonna say it again. So I hate the Titans, but I'm gonna give y'all a little big up in this situation. I love where y'all are headed with Cam Ward. I think y'all got it right, honestly. I do think there's still a little bit more team to put around him, but seeing what CJ Stroud did in 23, seeing what Jaden Daniels did in 24, I think there is a possibility that Tennessee could shock a lot of people within the division and within the league itself, and make they could win some games that they're supposed to lose. And I'm looking at their schedule right now. With that being said, they probably could, squeak in and get second place in the division.
Yeah.
So you're saying don't put Tennessee as a loss for any of my Stone Cold locks for the picks this season.
No, I wouldn't put Tennessee as a loss. I would say that the magic is continued to happen with Stroud and Jaden Daniels, and I think it's a with Cam Ward being the best prospect quarterback this year. I think that can probably continue. So I wouldn't be surprised if it continued.
Okay.
Okay. All right. OC number 2.
It's gonna be the Texans. No, I'm kidding with you. I'm kidding with you. But honestly, I looked at 3 main things. I looked at strength of schedule. I looked at also too like the threats in the division, and like the way I looked at it, the Titans have like the easiest schedule out of everyone in the whole division. Whole division. So that's gonna help out a lot.
Easiest schedule in the league.
Yeah, that too.
The 4th easiest.
So that helps out a lot. I mean, so you have the easiest schedule, and you got uncertainty on like 2 teams as far as as far as QB play. You got a new head coach in one team. You got a team that's still trying to figure out who's their QB of the future. The only thing I could see that could possibly not make us be at 2 would possibly be like like a major injury to anyone, which I hope not. But other than that, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be at least be number 2. I think we will at least split the division with every team we play in our conference or in our division. I don't think it's going to be a sweep, for the Titans this year as it was in the last previous years. I think we actually going to give some teams like a lot of headaches outside of our division, but also within our division. So I anticipate us winning between 7 to like 10 games. 10 being the high, 7 being the low.
Okay.
So that means OC has picked his team to win the AFC South.
Nah. Number 2, I respect D'Amico and like what they got going on in Houston. I do like CJ. He my kind of QB. I like my dudes to be quiet and just play. But you know what? You got to make plays. Hey, talk all you want to, man. I'm always making plays out there, and like you do what you're supposed to do. I do like the fact that D'Amico went heavy on defensive line. That goes a long way. I thought you guys could have done better as far as like getting more like defensive like interior help, and like but I do feel that you guys have enough, especially with the way the teams are built in our conference to like. I don't see why you guys shouldn't win the whole division. So,
okay, so to be clear. So you're picking the Texans to win the AFC South and Tennessee to be second.
Yes.
Okay, with that, I want to ask a question because I think we pretty much got a consensus across the top. But I want to ask this question. Mm-hmm. Will there, one at a time, be a wild card in the AFC South this year?
Ooh. That's what I was leaning towards. Well, I'm hoping the Titans get the wild card. That's what I'm hoping for. And like that's why I say between 7 and 10 wins, because I think if we get at least 8 or 9 wins, then that's going to be something that's going to be on the table for us to actually achieve. Mm-hmm. But as far as just winning straight out, I think that's going to be the Texans' mantle to like carry this year.
Okay, Joe.
So I started the show by saying I would be a little bit modest this time around because of the things that transpired last year. And to add on to what OC is saying, I think the Texans drank a little bit of the Kool-Aid that we had last year, right? I think we went out there thinking that we were gonna do this, but the offense didn't play up to the hype that we had. So I think this year, of course we're number 1, we'll win the division, but I think we have a chip on our shoulder to prove simply because the Titans beat us last year and they shouldn't have, right? And so I think they shouldn't have. So I think the main reason why I pick us to win the division is because I think we're playing with a chip on our shoulder and understanding that, hey, we're not doing any interviews, podcasts. A lot of these guys are just gonna put their head down, get to work, and I think we're playing past the division, and I think we're playing for an AFC Championship berth for the first time in franchise history.
Okay, but to answer my question,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm at a congressional hearing. To answer my question, do you think that there will be a wild card team to come out of the AFC South?
Yes, and I think that team will be the Tennessee Titans.
Okay. Brandon.
Okay, so do you want me to give you my first place team, or do you want me answer the wild card question?
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious that we all pick Houston.
Yeah, okay. All right. So I think the answer's got to be no for me when it comes to a wild card team coming out of AFC South. I'm sorry. First of all, the AFC West, you're looking at Kansas City, Chargers, and Denver. Okay. The coaches over there in the AFC West overall is too strong, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good point.
AFC North, yeah, Baltimore. Panda, we had a discussion about Cincinnati. All Cincinnati got to do is fix their defense a third of the way, and they back in the playoffs. Okay,
they're a 12-win team. If they
that's all they got to do is fix their defense a third of the way, and they back in the
Sign their
playoffs.
players first.
Huh?
Sign their players first because they have two defensive ends that are unsigned.
Well, I know. Listen. I understand. Well,
one of them I'm very favorable to. The other one is
one of them I don't like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of them. Don't look at me like that. I'm a defensive line coach. I don't like Shamar Stewart.
I don't either.
Oh, wow.
This guy is
an athlete, not a player.
Wait a minute. Listen. This guy is nothing but athlete. Okay. He is Mike Mamula 2.0, 3.0, whatever 0.0 you want to give him. Okay. He's all athlete. He wasn't the best defensive lineman in his own school over the last 3 years.
Scoring so much.
Okay. There was at least 3 or 4 other defensive linemen that's been through our program, whether they stayed or not, that was better than him or still there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so no, I don't like Shamar Stewart. You can miss me with that.
Yeah,
I think I
agree with that.
Now, that's him coming out of college. I don't have anything to do with what happens to him in the NFL. Okay, somebody he can develop. The defensive line coach can get him right, and fine. Okay, I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But him coming out of college right now, I don't like him.
Yeah, and I feel the same way.
I was like,
yeah.
Wait a minute.
This guy better.
This guy was no, forget it. So I get a host, but my thing is this, and I know this, and they did resume contract talks with Trey Hendrickson according to Jeremy Fowler on Sunday.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens with that. But you fix a third of that defense, and what I mean by third, I don't mean by players. I'm talking about just ranking. They right back in the playoffs.
They can win 12 games, yeah.
Right. So that's 5 teams right there. You still got to get another team out of the AFC East and a team out of the AFC South, and that fills up 7. And plus in the AFC East, health, God save them with health. Tua, they can probably compete for the 7th seed as well. So yeah, I don't see it coming out of the AFC. It's just too tough. It's way too.
That's a good point, though.
Way too tough, man. Way too tough and too loaded, and they've been tough and loaded for the last 3-4 years.
And and to close it out, that conversation, I agree with Brandon. I don't think there's going to be a wild card out of this division yet, not this year. But we could see a power shift within the next 2 years, especially if Cam Ward is as good as we think. I think all 4 of us believe that he's as good as we think he is. Plus, he's got an advantage because he's a rookie quarterback going to an offensive-minded coach.
Yes.
Opposed to like when Anthony Richardson went.
An easy schedule.
Yeah. So, but we can go ahead and close it out. To recap, all of us picked the Houston Texans to win the AFC South. There was some kerfuffle and brouhaha going on between 2 and 3, between Jacksonville and Tennessee.
Yeah.
And then everybody except OC picked Indianapolis Colts for dead last. All right.
Colts gonna be last.
We'd like to thank our guests tonight, Joe and OC, representing the Texans and Titans. We appreciate y'all being on. Next week, we will be covering the AFC East. And I do not think Trent Baalke is on site if I see him.
You said we're covering what division next week?
The AFC
Water.
East.
Negative.
You're right. The AFC North. I'm looking at my notes wrong. The AFC North next week. If you are a Bengals, Ravens, or Browns fan and you'd like to be on our show, contact us on our Facebook page or any of our social media pages and say, hey, I'd like to be a guest on your show. Now, we start dogging your team and you ain't on there, that's your fault. Okay? All right? These men stepped up to the plate and they showed out for their team. And they gave some really, really good analysis and commentary. So right now we have a Steelers fan coming on next week, but we still looking for Ravens, Bengals, and Browns. But really, what's a Browns fan? So,
hey, you know what, man? Right now, man, the Cleveland Browns, dude.
Let's not get into a new topic. Let's close the show out. We had an hour and 30. We had an hour and 30, Brandy. Let's close it out.
You already know what I'm about to do.
Save it for next week. Save it for next week.
You know what I'm do.
I'm tuned in next week.
I got magazines full of ammunition for that, but I'm gonna save it. Yeah. Okay.
Oh my goodness!
Thank y'all brothers for having me, man.
I'm about to load up on
it's been a pleasure. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
I'm about to load up on the Cleveland Browns next week, man. I'm sorry. I have to let. It's almost like. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Please tune in next week. Please tune in next week for me. Yeah, I'm on load on Cleveland, man.
I'm tuned in. I'm tuned in.
I'm gonna unload on the Steelers, but that's another story.
Oh yeah, well, I don't blame you for that one, man. Because
so
definitely tune in. Please tune in next week for the AFC North. Please turn. I mean, are we doing? Oh, so okay, yeah. Why are we doing AFC North versus NFC North?
Wait. Hold on. Wait. No, we're wrong. Hold on. I'm looking at my notes wrong.
Golly, boy.
No, it's NFC West.
Panda, which one is it, man?
It's NFC West.
You sure?
It's NFC West. June 23rd, NFC West.
June 23rd, okay.
Yeah, June 23rd, NFC West. Thank you. All right.
So you won't hear me talk too much on that show, even though my team is in NFC West. I have a guest coming to represent the 49ers. Because really, what's a Seahawks fan? What's a Rams fan?
I don't know any Seahawks or Rams fans. So yeah.
And Cardinals fans got heat stroke, so they already did it.
No, he didn't.
Let me tell you something. I've been to Arizona in June. Hey man. I went and got some ice cream. By the time I got back to my hotel, I had a cup of milk. So look, next week we apologize. Let me. That's my fault. I'm not above saying I'm wrong. Next week is the NFC West. All right. If you are a fan, come on, man. I'm gonna go ahead and say it though. If you're a fan of the Rams, Cardinals, or Seahawks, come on, let us know.
Now, also, if you're a fan of the Rams, Seahawks, Cardinals, we're gonna make sure that you're a fan of the three teams, or one of the three teams, because some people want to become Seahawks fans when the Legion Boom was out there. Okay, y'all don't know nothing about. Y'all don't even know nothing about Matt Hasselbeck, who was there 20 years ago, and I know that. Y'all don't know about Kurt Warner. I'm not talking about the quarterback either.
Tell me who Steve Largent is.
You didn't know that. You didn't know that you had a former quarterback that ended up becoming an NFL head coach. Okay. So, and then Cardinals. Cardinals have really done too. I mean, outside of that era when they had Kurt Warner. Outside of that, they really haven't done too much. So, you really got a hard time finding a Cardinals fan.
They have one of the little people as their quarterback.
And then, the boy is shorter than the kindergartner. And then,
hey, listen, you can't look. Listen, I understand that, but we got to put some respect on Kyler Murray. He's a Houston legend around here, man. As cold as he was in high school.
Listen.
I
That's
get.
high school football. This is the
I know.
Kyler Murray went to Allen. He was in North Texas.
I know, but I'm talking.
Exactly.
I'm talking about a Texas legend. My bad. I said Houston.
Texas.
A Texas high school legend.
I understand.
From Houston.
I understand that. That's in high school. I'm talking about the NFL right now. Okay. So I'm sorry, Texas, for dogging Kyler Murray high school.
Don't
This
be
is the NFL. Okay. This is the NFL.
I know.
And I think it's
Probably
this.
still playing video games.
I think it's this. If you got to give a quarterback a contract that says put down your damn game control and study your playbook, why are you giving this guy a contract extension in the first place?
Hey.
Okay, so all that what he did in high school, great job. I'm proud of you, happy for you, whatever. Okay, let's get some balloons for you. But this is the NFL right now, and you haven't shown me anything, you haven't done anything. So let's keep moving on that. Okay.
All right, take us home, Brandon.
Yeah, because you know I got another 20, 30 minutes in me.
I know. Take us home, Brandon. I need to turn on the organ and start playing you off.
Saying, man.
All right. Anyway, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, for watching us for another week of Just Fan Podcast. We finished our second week install of division by division coverage. We did the NFC North last week. We did the AFC South tonight. NFC West is next week, according to Pando. I'm about to look at my notes because
I got this from your notes.
You slacking.
Yeah,
anyway,
one of my pages wasn't turning. That's why
my pages weren't turning. Okay, sound like my high school students. Anyway, gentlemen, thanks for coming on to the show. Like I said, next week is our third install. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. You can follow us on Twitter. Yes, I still call it Twitter, because I refuse to call it the other thing. You can follow us on TikTok, which is still around. Thank you, Jesus, for however much longer. You can follow us on Facebook and follow us on IG. Good night, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Peace out.
Yo, deuce.
Hey, tighten up.